Yo, what's up everyone? Welcome back to the Silos Film Club. Today we're going to be talking about Alien Earth Episode 4, which has a lot of what in the helly moments. Guys, I'm very excited to talk to you what I think is kind of going on. My Alien and Predator mythology knowledge it's not very clean, to be honest, but I do love the franchise. I do like this show a lot, and I can't wait to talk to you guys about all the things that I think that are going on in this show, and how it relates to other, stuff outside pop culture as well. But before we get started, guys, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button, turn on the notifications so you guys do not miss a beat or any movie and TV news. Alright guys, we're going to talk about Alien Earth Episode 4, as it is going to have some spoilers in it. A lot of spoilers, so I'm going to give you guys a quick recap. I have all my notes down and I'm really excited to talk to you guys about everything that happened in the show, and also my final thoughts about everyone's character, that I do think that everyone kind of has their own motive. So this episode, Alien Earth Episode 4, called Observations, the show slows down to reveal deeper motives, unsettling questions, and growing tensions. Wendy's newfound ability to communicate with xenomorphs forces Prodigy, the company, of course, that is, ran by Boy Cavalier, to question whether hybrids are tools or individuals. The Sins, like Wendy, start questioning everything. Frustrated that Wendy can keep her brother Kermit around while they can't see their own families, hinting a growing sense of rebellion. Meanwhile, Meryl's ruthless scheming is full force. He kidnaps Slightly's mother and uses her as leverage to force Slightly into smuggling a xenomorph egg and orchestrating a dangerous facehugger incident. This adds another layer to the slow ethical questions and power plays. On top of that, a new horror emerges as a eyeball tentacle creature attacks a sheep, suggesting these creatures may be latching onto hosts for study and possibly targeting Sins next. In the end, Wendy eerie bond with the xenomorph and the Sins growing a lot more, and Samantha has the most unpredictable piece in this unfolding drama, guys. So I do like the dynamics of a lot of stuff that's going on. I also forgot to mention it was Arthur, Sylvia, and the wife. Oh my god, I can't forget the wife's name to save my life. But it's the wife, and his wife works for Prodigy as well. They're the ones that kind of look, I don't want to say they all kind of look after the Sins, but they all look after the Sins as scientists. Dame Sylvia. Arthur starts to pretty much questioning the things that are going on. Are we pushing things far beyond science? It's not science, it's unethical at this point. We would feel bad if something happened to these Sins. The Sins are technically still kids, and he goes, I would feel terrible. Pretty much tells them, don't worry about the situation. I think the Sins are okay. But you start to feel like, why is she not worried about it? I think she's just so emotionally connected with these Sins that she feels like nothing could go wrong, because the twist is that she cannot have any kids, so she's looking at these Sins as her kids. But Arthur's starting to, have a feeling that these Sins are starting to not necessarily rebel, but feel a little bit of a certain way. Also, the company Prodigy is starting to look at these Sins like they're not actual humans, which they're technically not humans, which they are, but they're physically not humans, but more as, more product of Prodigy, their tools. They, pretty much, the brother Hermit, pretty much saying that he wants to stay, but they said the only way if you stay with your sister is you work for us, because technically she's our property. You just cannot leave with her, and you would have to pay back the lung that we, pretty much gave you so you can live. Which kind of sucks, because, that kind of creates a dynamic between everyone. Him staying there, the sister pretty much, Wendy. He pretty much is overprotecting her on, the experiments that they're doing, because we figured out that she can communicate with the xenomorphs. She is the one and only that can communicate with the xenomorphs. They figured that out right away, but I honestly don't believe that all the xenomorphs is the one that was in the facehugger, then they extracted out, and I think that that's the only one that she can communicate with. Once we figure that out, guys, we start to, everyone's very excited about it, especially Boy Cavalier, and not everyone, but Boy Cavalier and Wendy's super excited about this. But Hermit the brothers very being overprotective, and then you start to see the dynamic where Wendy's like, dude, it's fine, I can do this, and I want to do this. Then we get Kirsch. Kirsch is not necessarily sneaking around, but he's finding out more information. He also knows that Miro and also Slightly have been communicating. Muro's the half cyborg kind of guy. This whole scenario of everything that's going on kind of reminds me of Peter Pan a little bit. Boy Cavalier, Peter Pan, Muro's pretty much Captain Hook, but instead of a hook, he has a cybernetic arm. Very similar, and he's pretty much, talking to this boy. Technically, he is a boy Slightly, and he pretty much comes up with this whole scheme, pretty much asks Slightly what his real name is, to pretty much get, information about Slightly, and if once he knows his real name, he can figure out who his real mother is, and uses his mother as hostage to tell Slightly, hey, you gotta grab me if eggs Mero wants him to take out. He cannot do it. He's not smart enough to do it. He is a boy, but pretty much tells him that the way that we're gonna do this is you're gonna get someone that you know that is not a sin, and you're gonna get him close to the egg, and the egg is gonna do what's going to do, attach into someone's face and come out their chest. We don't know why though. We don't know why Mero is trying to do all this. Technically not even supposed to be there by his employer, but he wants Slightly to do this and pretty much kidnaps the mom and Slightly. At the end, we pretty much find out his main target to do this is Hermit, because you see him observing through his window outside while it's raining. It looks pretty cool. At the end of the day, this episode is called Observation. Everyone observing it. Everyone is observing everyone in this point. And yeah, it's pretty much a main theme in this, in this show. And also we have Nibs. Nibs is one of the sins, which I'm going to start to get into right now. I think that all these sins are going to eventually turn against Prodigy, Boy Cavalier, and I think they all are going to end up being xenomorphs or some sort of, alien combination too as well, because she's a little infatuated with the eye thing. I think the eye thing is going to end up going inside her, and I think, Nibs pretty much goes to Dame and tells her she's pregnant, which Dame is like, it's impossible. You're not pregnant. And she pretty much, Nibs tells her, yes, I am. They not getting an argument, but, Nibs starts to show signs of, violence. Guards come and kind of control the situation, but Nibs was getting very aggressive with Dame. Nibs believes she's pregnant. I don't think she is. I honestly do think that she's starting to see and look at these, creatures, and eventually somehow her former pregnancy, I think she's going to start to think that these aliens or this tentacle thing is going to be needs to be inside of her. And I think this is going to be pretty wild, guys. I think overall, these, especially with, I'll get into the situation with Wendy, but Wendy, communicating with the xenomorphs, I think these xenomorphs are going to pretty much tell Wendy that, these humans are bad. Everyone's going to start turning on the Prodigy. And, Wendy's a kid, so she's going to be like, yeah, of course they're bad, blah, blah, blah. And they're going to end up all going to turn against the Prodigies and the humans. We'll see how that goes. I'm not sure what Mero's actual intentions, but boy, he is pretty much in a little espionage kind of scenario that we got going on here. And I think it's very well directed how they do that as well. And let's talk about Wendy's situation with the xenomorph. The xenomorph. So we pretty much know that they take the xenomorph out of the face hugger. They put that xenomorph inside Hermit's, lung. And, we don't see what happens yet. But at the end of the episode, we do see Hermit pretty much... not Hermit. The xenomorph coming out of Hermit's lung and blasting through the window. First, I thought it was going to attack Wendy like we always see. But no, it does not. It pretty much goes... I think it goes on top of a desk. And Wendy starts to... I don't even think she talks to her now that I remember. She just starts eating clothes. The xenomorph is kind of looking at her. It reminds me of when a cobra, hypnotizes a person, or when you're dancing, when you're playing the flute and that cobra is just kind of looking at you and you're following you around, and they pretty much have a bonding moment. I don't know what this sets up for anything else, to be honest. I think I have different theories. I think they're going to end up communicating somehow. I don't know if she's going to be like a mother to them, or a sister, because it is technically a little bit of the brother's lungs, but I'm not 100% sure, guys. I don't know what they're going to do with this. And also the Sin's already kind of mad with the humans just for letting Wendy have her family, and the rest are not allowed to have their families around. And I think everyone's just going to end up rebelling on the humans. I think this is what is going to go too. And also, do you think some of these Sins are going to die, these kids, and also some of them are going to be hosted by some of these life forms? I do think Nibs is going to be hosted by the tentacle, and I'll tell you why. This little tentacle eyeball thing, they're pretty much doing a study on him. They have a sheep. In a cage looking thing, and they pretty much put a sheep in there that has these attachments that you put on your head so you can see the wavelengths of the brains and the things that are going off in the brains. They put this tentacle thing in there, and the tentacle thing just goes hard on this sheep. Literally, this tentacle eyeball thing starts to attack the eyeball, goes inside, takes the eyeball out. Once it gets down to the ground, puts himself as the eyeball, picks himself up, and now he is a sheep. Dude, that scene was so wild for me to watch. I was just going like, oh no moment. Like, then you start to see that this little eyeball thing is paying attention first to Kirsch and then to the Cavalier. I think it's trying to find a different host, maybe a host that's smarter. I think that's what these tentacles beings end up doing, and I think it's going to go after Nibs, and Nibs is going to end up being the tentacle person. I know that sounds stupid for me to say, but I'm betting my money on that because she has been infatuated with this creature before, or has been looking at it, and I think that she's gonna think this is her form of having a baby. I honestly do think that that's what's going to happen. And also there's a big main theme that is going on. Are these Sins humans, or are they just copies? Did they because one of the boss guys, well, I forgot his name, one of the bald guys, they asked Hermit, do you think this is still your sister? And he couldn't really answer the question. He was like, yeah, of course my sister. You just kind of, you uploaded her brain into, her, to another body, to pretty much a Sin. And he goes, how do you know we didn't copy? Just, they're her exact same memories. But at what point is something, just a copy, or is the exact same thing? Isn't a copy the exact same thing of yourself? If you woke up tomorrow as a copy of yourself and you didn't know, I think you still kind of be yourself. You know what I mean? Unless, well, I guess you're still in a different body, but it would be the exact same thing as getting uploaded to a different body. I don't know. I think that was pretty good how they did that, and it does have us thinking: are these people, or did the little Wendy die, and they just made a copy of her brain to this Sin? Most likely, to be honest. I don't really see. I guess there's technically a difference, but I don't really see too much of a difference. A copy is still the same thing of yourself. I'm not too sure. But also, guys, I also honestly do think that, these Sins are going to go against the humans. And I don't know if that's what his intentions are as well, so they can take down Prodigy. So, the xenomorphs can keep on living. And I think he just has a different plan for it. But I am not 100% sure, guys. I'm very excited for this show, guys, of what this show is going to start bringing. This for more episodes that are left for this show. And I just can't wait to see what goes on in the future of this Alien Earth series, because this is top notch. I love everything about it. I like how this episode is called Observation, and everyone's observing everyone. Kirsch is observing slightly, and he knows he's talking to Meryl or someone. Then you have Boy Cavalier observing Wendy. Wendy is observing the xenomorph, and then the eye thing, the little eye tentacle guy was observing Kirsch. Everyone's observing everyone, and the twist is that Slightly is observing Hermit to try to put Hermit in that situation so the face hugger can pretty much plant a xenomorph inside Hermit. Guys, this is gonna be nuts if all this goes according to plan, which I doubt it will. But yeah, this is my recap for Alien Episode 4. This season has been pretty good so far. It's been treating us well. Honestly, didn't really have crazy expectations at the beginning about this show, but now I can't wait to see what else happens. But now I will see you guys later. I'm gonna hang out my xenomorph and let's see what this xenomorph has to say to me. Peace.